This is the Wolf Gourmet 4-slice extra wide slot toaster. I just wanted to share my experience with this in case anyone else is considering it. I have been using it as my main toaster at home, mostly for weekday breakfasts and the occasional weekend bagel situation. If you make toast for more than one person, or you like thicker bread that never fits right in smaller slots, this type of toaster makes sense. It is also for anyone who cares about getting the same result every morning without having to babysit it. What stood out to me right away is that it is built around control and consistency. The slots are wide enough that I can use thicker sourdough and big bagel halves without squeezing them in. And the way it holds the bread feels a little more deliberate than cheaper toasters. When I press the lever down, it does not feel loose or flimsy, and the bread sits straight instead of tilting. That sounds small, but it affects how evenly the toast comes out. On my counter, it looks clean and simple. The metal body feels solid when I move it to clean underneath, and it does not slide around easily when I use the controls. The knobs have a smooth, slightly resistant turn to them that makes it easy to land where I want without overshooting. The red knobs are the only loud visual choice, but in person, they just read as a design detail, not something that takes over the kitchen. Daily use is straightforward. I plug it in, drop the bread in, choose the shade level, and hit the lever. The dial gives you enough range that I can go from lightly warmed to properly browned, and I do actually use more than one setting depending on the bread. With plain sandwich bread, I stay lower because it browns fast. With thicker slices, I go higher because it takes longer for the heat to reach the center. I also like that the extra features are there when I need them, but I do not have to think about them all the time. The bagel setting is the one I use most. With bagels, I want the cut side toasted and the outside warmed, not dried out. This toaster gets pretty close to that. The cut side comes out with a clear toast and a little crunch, while the outside stays softer. It is not perfect with every bagel brand because thickness varies, but the intent of the setting is real, and I can see the difference compared to the normal toast mode. The frozen setting is another one I use more than I expected. I keep sliced bread in the freezer so it does not go stale, and I hate when a toaster burns the outside while the inside is still cold. With frozen mode, the timing feels more thoughtful. The bread comes out toasted and not weirdly dry. I still adjust the shade depending on the bread, but I do not have to run it twice as often. There is also a single slice setting, and it actually matters. A lot of 4-slot toasters struggle when you only toast one piece, because the heat distribution is not the same. With this one, I can toast one slice and it does not come out noticeably lighter on one side. It is not magic, but it is more consistent than what I am used to. Cancel is instant, and that matters in real life. If I smell it getting too dark, I can stop it right away and the bread pops up. The lift height is good too. I can grab smaller pieces without digging inside with my fingers. Now for real-world testing. I ran a pretty normal rotation through it. Regular white sandwich bread, whole wheat, thick sourdough, grocery store bagels, and a couple of those wide bakery-style slices that are almost more crust than center. With standard bread, the browning is even across the surface, and I do not get that pale stripe down the middle that some toasters leave behind. With thicker sourdough, I get a good outside toast, and the inside stays chewy instead of turning into a dry cracker. With bagels, the bagel mode gives me the result I want most of the time, and I do not feel like I have to stand there and guess. I also paid attention to how it handles 4 slices at once, because that is the whole point of owning a 4-slice toaster. If I load all 4 slots with the same bread, it stays consistent from slot to slot. If I mix bread types, like 2 thick slices and 2 thin slices, I can still get decent results, but I have to accept that one shade setting cannot be perfect for everything at the same time. That is not really a flaw, it is just real life. If I want it perfect, I toast similar items together. Cleaning is simple. The crumb tray slides out easily and it catches most of what you would expect. I empty it every few days. Crumbs still fall under and around any toaster over time, but this one is not messy in a way that surprises me. I do wish the tray had a little more depth, because if I forget for too long and then pull it out quickly, a few crumbs can jump out. As long as I pull it out slowly, it is fine. Here are the small complaints I have from day to day. The body gets warm in use, which is normal, but it is something I notice if the toaster is close to other appliances. Also, because it is a sturdier unit, it takes up a bit more space than a basic 2-slice toaster. On a tight counter, that could matter. And while the knobs feel nice to use, I sometimes wish the shade markings were slightly easier to see at a glance in low morning light. None of this stops me from using it, but it is the kind of stuff you only learn after living with it. One more thing I should address because I see it in a lot of product scripts. There is no mobile app here. There is no phone setup. Everything you do is on the toaster, and honestly, I prefer that for something as simple as toast. The controls are physical, predictable, and they do not change. Overall, I keep using it because it is consistent. It handles thick bread without a fight, and it does not make breakfast feel like a guessing game. It is not trying to do a dozen unrelated things. It is a 4-slot toaster that focuses on even browning, useful modes that actually change the outcome, and day-to-day usability that stays simple. You can view detailed information about the Wolf Gourmet 4-slice extra-wide slot toaster in the comments section. Thank you for watching.